Hey folks, Darren here, Mr. Sandsman. I said a few weeks ago that I wanted to start looking at some physical media purchases that I've made. So during March, I made quite a number of them. So this video is going to be all about that. So physical media is kind of one of those things that I've had a love-hate relationship over the years with. I mean, I started with VHS back in the 80s, collected loads of those, then sold them as DVD came in the sort of mid to late 90s. I then got rid of all of my DVDs and started collecting Blu-ray, but then I started to fall after a while for the sort of electronic side of things, the digital media, and built up a bit of a collection of digital media movies. I think on iTunes at the moment, I've got something like 500 or something of movies that I've either bought or acquired through the job that I'm in. And since I've been doing this channel, I've been watching a few physical media channels. Nigel over on Rock God 2004, Christian over on Planet CHH, who does a great channel there on physical media, and also mid-level media as well. There are some really cool channels out there who really bring you all the kind of latest news on these things. And, you know, I'm not kind of pretending to be one of those channels, but I do like to talk about these purchases now and again. I do flash them up on TSL Movie Podcast. So I thought what I'd do is give you a bit of a rundown of what I've bought this March, because there's quite a few of them. A few movies have come out this past month that I'm quite fond of. So I've been digging deep and buying them. And there's some brilliant boutique collections out there now, you know, the likes of Second Sight, Arrow, 88 Films, Umbrella, Kino Lorber, companies like that. Although Kino Lorber, we'll get to talk about them in a little bit. They really do go to town with some of their 4Ks. And so I've spent a lot of the last year collecting 4Ks again because I've been so impressed with the quality of the packages that they bring. So first off is a movie that I saw before release, back in when would this be now? 1999. This came out on March 18th from Arrow Video, and it is Deep Blue Sea. Now they've gone to town with this with a brand new 4K restoration from the original camera negative. It has a DTS and Atmos audio options. Audio commentaries from Duncan Kennedy and filmmaker and critic Rebecca McKendry. Archive commentary by Rennie Harlin and Samuel L. Jackson. Interviews, featurettes, deleted scenes, it's all on here. A reversible sleeve with original and newly commissioned artwork. I think I can show you some of that now. Let me just have a quick look. So there is the newly commissioned artwork, which is kind of cool. I don't think the original artwork was up to much in the first place, so I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. You also get the usual when Arrow do these things. Great old book to accompany it with all sorts of essays and behind the scenes stills and things. And also the poster of the new artwork as well, which I can quickly show you here. There we go. And then on the reverse side, you have the original stuff with Saffron Burrows in the water there with a shark behind it. So all in all, a nice little package. I haven't had chance to watch it just yet. I will watch it pretty soon. But you know, I kind of have fond memories of this film. I remember going with a friend of mine we watched it in a cinema before its release. We were very lucky to be able to see it before it came out. And it's one of those movies where I really admired the practical effects in the film. There is some ropey CG in this movie, but there are some really good practical moments with some of the sharks that they built for this. So Deep Blue Sea is a movie that I quite fancied owning, so I bought it. The movie itself is fun. It's a little dated, but as I said before, some of the shark effects are quite cool looking. So if you haven't seen it, I suggest you check it out. It's one of the better sort of post-Jaws shark movies. And yeah, back when Rennie Harlin was a reasonably good director. So yeah, I'm glad I bought this. Next up is Tobe Hooper's Lifeforce, and a new 4K restoration of the international cut of the movie has just been released. Now, I saw this originally years and years ago, and then Frank and I looked at it for a episode of Cool Cruel Summers on TSL Movie Podcast about 4 or 5 years ago. It's kind of charming and of its time. I love the fact that it's primarily a British film, even though Tobe Hooper directed it. A lot of money was thrown at this film, and not a lot of money came back, unfortunately. So I thought it was quite cool to own this, because there are 2 cuts on here. You get the international cut and the theatrical cut. I do believe there's another cut, maybe a director's cut that I've read about as well, which I haven't seen. I'm looking forward to revisiting this, just to see what a job they've done on it. It came out on February the 17th, but it took a few weeks for it to be delivered to me for some reason. It is a limited edition version. There's a new 4K restoration of both the 116-minute international cut and the 101-minute theatrical cut from the original negative. Original lossless audio plus optional 5.1 DTS surround and Atmos remixes for both cuts. So they've gone to town on some of the audio. Optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. A reversible sleeve featuring original and newly commissioned artwork by Dan Mumford. So that's, I guess, the newly commissioned artwork. Let me see if I can show you the... Oh, there's the original artwork, which I think was on the VHS back in the day, if I can remember it. There we go. Lifeforce. What else do we have here? Collector's booklet featuring writing on the film by Frank Collins, which is just there. Some more alternative artwork on that one. So yeah, all the kind of gubbins you need to know about the movie in that. I've got a note here that says, this is kind of summarized from some of the reviews, that says, these releases provide fans with high quality restorations and a wealth of supplementary materials, making them valuable additions to any film enthusiast's collection. Well, I'll let you know once I've seen it as to whether I agree with that or not. So yeah, so Lifeforce, a movie I'm quite looking forward to watching again. Next up, 2 movies that I watched this weekend, both of them coming from Second Sight. And they are, I mean, Second Sight really are the Rolls Royce of some of these restorations that they do. And the first one I would say is, I mean, beautiful artwork on this. David Cronenberg's The Brood. This is kind of a brace of David Cronenberg movies that they've released this month. So the first one is The Brood. For those of you that have seen The Brood, you'll know that it's quite a disturbing little thriller. Oliver Reed plays a psychiatrist who's looking after a patient, played by Samantha Eggar, who has a bit of a secret that she's harboring this kind of brood of kind of mutant kids that she's giving birth to, and the kids go on a bit of a rampage, and they're all kind of powered by her emotions that are channeled through the kids. There's some pretty gnarly moments in this film. As with Cronenberg, he always likes to go more on the sort of disturbing side of things, and if you like creepy kid movies, this is certainly one to watch. Oliver Reed, I can watch forever. I think he's just a marvelous actor. I love him. I loved his antics on and off camera. And we've got Art Hindle in here as well, who plays the husband of Samantha Eggar. Art Hindle, who you might remember from Black Christmas. The 4K itself has been supervised by Cronenberg. It's been signed off by him, all approved. There's a new 4K restoration presented in HDR and Dolby Vision. There's a DTS HD master audio track and the original mono tracks on there as well. Special features include an audio commentary by Martin Conterio and Kat Ellinger and an audio commentary by William Beard. Interviews with cast and crew, including actors Art Hindle, Cindy Hines, executive producer Pierre David, cinematographer Mark Irwin, and composer Howard Shaw. Howard Shaw, who did a great old score for David Cronenberg with The Fly. Did this back in 1979 as well. And actor Robert A. Silverman's part of those interviews as well. There's video essays, archival interviews, a rigid slipcase with new artwork. Here we are, there's that. We then have the disc as well. Inside you've got the 2 discs there. Great artwork on the disc. That's a shocking scene, is that bit, that particular bit there. And then you can see the great artwork that's been commissioned here. Oliver Reed, the kids walking down the road. What else have we got? We've got a book, a 120-page book there, which has got pretty much everything you need to know about the movie, which is a really nice thing to have. Really kind of puts the icing on these these 4K limited editions, and also a series of art cards as well, which have been commissioned. And again, there's that really horrible moment in the film where the mutant kids are going after Art Hindle's daughter. Oliver Reed, kids again walking down the street. Some great stuff here. Yeah, that's a creepy moment too, with a kid looking through the banister, and then back to Samantha Egger again after she's just revealed herself to Art. Yeah, The Brood. I watched it this weekend. It's good. I really enjoyed it. It looks fantastic. They've done a terrific job. I had to drop down the HDR settings on this because it was blowing out some of the color. I have a Samsung HDR 10 Plus TV, and some of the color was really blowing out, so I had to put it on a really standard setting. But even so, the colors were really rich and vibrant. Not too much grain on this. It really did look a treat in 4K. So I was hoping after I'd watched this that Scanners would look exactly the same as well. And that's the next one I wanted to talk about, Scanners. For those of you who don't know that what Scanners are a kind of rare breed of person whose thoughts can kill. There are good scanners and there are bad scanners, and Michael Ironside plays Revok, who's the kind of leader of the sort of underground scanners movement, who's kind of going all out for world dominance. And there's an agency that recruit a vagrant scanner and train him up to go out there and find and kill Michael Ironside's character before he completes his task of world dominance. So Stephen Lack plays that good scanner, and it's just it's a great, it's kind of a slow burn, but there are moments throughout this film which will really shock you. I mean, we all know about the infamous head explosion moment, but as the movie goes on, there are some really cool similar moments to that take place. Dick Smith, who did the makeup for The Exorcist, was a supervisor on this movie and was able to help the creative effects team in this with some of their work and advise them on it. They really did a good job. This is early kind of bladder bag days, and the final scene, which is so well staged between Michael Ironside and Stephen Lack, this sort of battle between this good and bad scanner has some amazing effect sequences in it. All practical, all happening in front of you. They really did go all out on this in terms of makeup. And Scanners, I think, still holds up really well today in terms of how original and how good a movie it is. It really did surprise me that this was a lot better than what I remembered. So what do we get with it? So again, like The Brood, it's a new 4K restoration that's been approved by David Cronenberg, presented in HDR with Dolby Vision, DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, and the original mono soundtrack. A new commentary by Calum Vansdal. I haven't had a look at... Sometimes they just get film historians in to do these commentaries. There's another audio commentary by William Beard. Interviews with actors Stephen Lack, Michael Ironside, Lawrence Dane, cinematographer Mark Irwin, composer Howard Shaw, again, executive producer Pierre David, and makeup effects artist Stephen Dupois and Chris Wallace. So Chris Wallace, I can't remember how you pronounce that. The guy who did all the stuff for The Fly and won an Oscar. He did the makeup in this as well. As I said, they were kind of supervised by Dick Smith on this. You get the J case, the J cover, which is that over the front. And then, again, this amazing rigid box there. You have another 120-page book with everything you need to know about the film. And then in terms of the commissioned artwork on this, there's a moment in the movie where Stephen Lack goes to visit a scanner who's a kind of like sculptor, an artist, and he has this amazing gallery, and he visits him, and you see a lot of the work has come through in this artwork here. So that's one of the sculptors that he's done. There's another one there, so they've kind of inspired this artwork based on a lot of the sculptures. Michael Ironside and Stephen Lack in their final confrontation. One of those early head explosions. Patrick McGowan there, who's kind of like the doctor that's in charge of the institute, which looks after the good scanners. And then Stephen Lack again there. Okay. So that one's Scanners. I really did, like I said, I really did enjoy that that movie. And, you know, who knows, maybe we'll do a best and worst of episode on TSL one day with that. Next up is a movie that was one of my favorite horror films of last year. Dominated the award scene. Didn't win as many that I wanted it to. But, you know, it's a movie that pays homage to all the films that I was a fan of growing up. And it's The Substance. Demi Moore in Coralie Fagent's The Substance. 5 BAFTA nominations, 5 Academy Award nominations. Margaret Qualley playing Demi Moore's alter ego in this film. A really messy, sicky, icky body horror movie that pays homage to so many films. The Fly, Elephant Man, The Shining, Society. So many movies that this movie kind of nods and winks to throughout. And a lot of people found that annoying. I actually found it really refreshing. I thought, you know, there's a lot of films out there that kind of that rip other films off. This is kind of really politely tipping its hat to a lot of these movies. And it was a real surprise when it came out, because this was a Cannes darling that critics were high on, but no one really knew what it was. And when I saw this for the first time and discovered that it was a homage to all of these movies that I'm a big fan of, I just couldn't help but love it. I absolutely adored it, and I championed it all the way through the awards season. And it did okay, you know. She got the Globe, did Demi Moore. But I just thought that maybe if the Academies recognised horror a little bit more, then this could have gone that little bit further. I think a lot of Academy members who are maybe that bit older probably got so far with this film and thought, no, this isn't for me at all, and maybe turned it off. But who knows? I don't know. But it's still a great movie, and it's done wonders for the career of Demi Moore. So The Substance is a 4K that I also bought. Both me and my wife are huge fans of this. Nothing really too special about this. I thought they might have done something, you know, they had plenty of time in the UK. I thought they might have done something special with this 4K version. I couldn't see a steelbook. I couldn't see a really, you know, a special plush edition of it anywhere. This came out just yesterday in the UK. I know it came out in January in the US, but the only thing that's really on here of any note is that there's a featurette. It's Dolby Vision, HDR10, the usual. It also has a DTS soundtrack. Nothing hugely impressive about this. I think there's maybe some sort of, if I just open it up and have a look inside. Yeah, there's a DVD with it as well. There's a few art cards. Let's just have a look at those, see what there is. Remember, You Are the One. Margaret Qualley. Demi Moore with a little fitness class. Okay. Wow. Yeah, so nothing, and that's the end of it there. Nothing really too imaginative has gone into this. Over here, it was owned by Mubi, so it went on their streaming network for a while before it actually came out. They were obviously using it to bolster their subscriber base. So who knows? Maybe further down the road, they will bring out an ultra plush edition with more, you know, more of those extras, commentaries, that kind of thing. Still plenty of time, I guess, but for now, just a standard 4K with a slip. Next up is Kill Bill, Volume 1, I think. 1, yeah, here we are. This is a 4K steelbook that I purchased, which I thought was really cool. I think in the US, they came out earlier on in the year, but they just came out this week in the UK, $34.99. I think Lionsgate, if I remember rightly, have released this over here. I may be wrong on that. Yeah, they did. Lionsgate did it. Again, like The Substance, nothing too much to write home about. They've got this kind of fancy coloured slipcover over the top of it, and then the steel books underneath. Great artwork on there. And then inside, as I said, really vibrant and colourful. Nothing much on here other than the making of Kill Bill Volume 1, the 5, 6, 7, 8 bonus musical performances, and then a bunch of trailers from Tarantino's movies are on this as well. So, you know, I think I bought it mainly for the film, but hopefully one day we will see some special box set with tons of extras, and maybe the original colour version of this rather than it going into black and white. during the, what do they call that now? That fight sequence, Battle Without Honor or Integrity. I can't remember the name of the fight sequence. You know what I mean? The one with all the kind of hundreds of guys running into the room taking her on. Also, at the same time, they brought out Kill Bill Volume 2. Again, both great movies. I can't decide which I prefer between these two movies. I like the slow burn of Part 2 and the build-up to actually coming across Bill. But Kill Bill 1 is great for all the setup, the scene where she's in the ground and they use the Ennio Morricone music for her to burst out, punching through the coffin, the cliffhanger ending that we get with Part 1. But Part 2 is a worthy sequel. If I had to choose, I would say Part 1 is slightly better, maybe slightly has the edge on Part 2. But in terms of the Blu-rays here, the 4Ks, they have the same. Again, this has just got the making of Kill Bill Volume 2, the deleted scene on this one, and a musical performance as well. So yeah, so it's a shame they couldn't put more on there, but they are beautiful to have. Let me just see if I can show you the inside of this as well, and maybe take another look at the artwork. So there you get Bill and Michael Madsen, Daryl Hannah and Uma Thurman's character there, and then if I just open it up, you can see inside the 2 discs and the artwork that they've used inside there. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Next is, you might laugh at this, Daylight. I'm actually a fan. I'm actually a fan of this film. You know, I did an episode on disaster movies before, like a disaster movie ranking. I actually am a big fan of Daylight. I do really enjoy it. Sylvester Stallone, directed by Rob Cohen. He of the original Fast and the Furious and Dragonheart, movies like that. This came out on March 11th and it is by Kino Lorber. I'd ordered it before the release date, and I ordered it through a company in the UK called Film Treasures. They usually take a week or two after the US release to send out their copies, because they have to import them into the country. As I said, this came out on March 11. I believe March 12, this was taken off the shelves and recalled by Kino Lorber. At the same time, they also cancelled their upcoming release of Dante's Peak. Now, I believe that the writer of Daylight also wrote Dante's Peak. There's possibly, and I don't know this for sure, a rights issue with this. I got in touch with Film Treasures and said, look, are you still going to send these out? And they said, we haven't received them yet. If we do, we shall send them out. About a week later, this would be last Friday, they sent me an email saying, we've just received Daylight today. We're sending it out to you tonight. And it arrived. This has been going for as much as $500 on eBay, which staggers me because it's now, I guess, been removed indefinitely. I have no intention of getting rid of this whatsoever. In fact, I've taken the shrink wrap off, so that's probably knocked $450 off the price at the moment. But no, I've taken the shrink wrap off because I want to keep it. I'd like to have this film on 4K. If this is never going to come back out, I'd like to think that I've got a copy. I'm not one of these people who will just whack it on eBay and scalp. But it is cool that Film Treasures, hats off to them, honoured the fact that I'd ordered this. And when it arrived, they could have sent them all back to Kino Lorber, but they didn't. They sent them out. So hats off to Film Treasures for that. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. It's a fairly bog standard affair. There's an audio commentary by director Rob Cohen, the making of Daylight, an EPK featurette, and a video for Whenever There Is Love by Donna Summer, which I'll look forward to. But yeah, it's fairly bog standard. I do believe the film, the quality of it is pretty good. It's very bog standard inside. I mean, you know, they haven't put a lot of work into this. There you can see what's going on the front and back. It's, if I remember rightly, it was Viggo Mortensen, Danielle Harris, Sylvester Stallone. Can't remember the other cast members in it, but essentially a car accident in the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, I think. Is it the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel? I think so. And He's a kind of disgraced emergency worker that has to go in and help get all these people out. It's good fun. If you haven't seen it, check out Daylight. If you see a copy lying around in the US that's still on the shelves, snag it, because it might be worth a few quid. But don't sell it. Keep it. Be the better man or woman. Finally, I have this, which I opened on my live stream the other day. It's a box set, which is part of a overall box set from Umbrella Entertainment called Art Attack. They basically stuff a box full of Terrifier swag, which includes Terrifier Lego, or a kind of version of Terrifier Lego, some Art the Clown crappy glasses that you get with it, Terrifier 3 on VHS, which is the reason why this was delayed for so long, because there's only so many VHS manufacturers in Australia. All sorts of other little bits and bats as well, but the main thing is this box set of 4K Blu-rays. You can see. I mean, the outer box is beautiful. The artwork on it is fantastic. Let me just try and get that in focus. There you go. The Art Attack collection. Okay, let me just try and show you all of these, starting with the book. It's a really thick book, and is just full of photos, stories, interviews, all sorts of things across the Terrifier franchise. It's really nicely put together and well worth having, I think. Next, we get a bunch of stickers. If you're into that sort of thing, I think there's some of the stuff for the Lego there as well. Next up is a load of lobby cards. Some gruesome stuff here. I guess these are just off of Terrifier 3, but oh no, that's Terrifier 2. Maybe it's across all Terrifier films. Yes, it is there. Yeah, definitely. Very nice lobby cards there, and then the 4K versions of each movie. So the original Terrifier. Let me just see if I can take this out. Show you. There's, I think there's the Blu-ray and the 4K in there. Not for the squeamish, as we know. Terrifier 2. And it's got this, it's really nicely embossed as well. You can see that. There's the Lauren Lavera character on the back. And then finally, Terrifier 3, which has some great artwork on the front. This came for about, when I ordered it, I think it was about 260 Australian dollars, which works out at about 120 pounds. So for everything that you get, the 3 films, the book, the VHS, all the little bits of tut and swag and nonsense that comes with it, I thought it was quite a nice thing to have. And obviously will be very limited edition because they can only do so many of the VHSs. And I believe it's sold out already. So I was quite happy that I managed to get my hands on these, because there's an issue in the UK. I think the company that are releasing Terrifier 1 and 2 in 4K have gone bust. They've been promising a limited edition steelbook for some time now, since before Christmas, and it's been postponed indefinitely. So to get my hands on all 3 of them in 4K, I think is a nice thing to have. Because although I'm not a huge fan of the Terrifier franchise, I keep saying that I do really appreciate what it's done for the horror genre and for horror cinema. And, you know, Damien Leone's doing a great job. He really is. I can watch the Terrifier films. I can enjoy them. I'm not, you know, sniffy about them or anything like that. They just don't rank among my favorites of all time. But I do like what he's doing for horror cinema. So, nice thing to have, like I said. and I shall look forward to diving into these pretty soon. And that's it, folks. I got to clean some of this mess up. I've left everything kind of unpacked and unpackaged here. These are all the physical media purchases that I had in March and at the end of April, because I've got other stuff on order, because I love collecting this boutique stuff. I shall do another video and tell you what I bought in April as well. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I shall be back soon with another slasher ranking. I've got 2010 to 2019. If you haven't seen it, right here is my slasher ranking of 2000 to 2009. And down here, just there, is one of my other tier 10-minute rankings, as it were. So check those out, and I shall see you soon.